Okay. Hi, welcome everyone. Welcome ICLU Radio Club. Welcome podcasting class, voiceover class, and ICLU radio class. Today, we're going to go over a little bit of Adobe Audition. Obviously, you've covered some of the basics in your class, but we just want to go through it a little more in depth so that you can do some fun stuff and make your shows or your voiceover extra special. So the first thing you want to do is I opened up Adobe Audition. This is Adobe Audition 2021. Same Adobe that we have in the production room and the control room. If you have Adobe on your computer, you may have a slightly different version, but they work pretty much the same. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to click the record button at the bottom, and you can name your file however you want, but I always like to do, say, Kyle VO sweeper, and then today's date, so I know when I made it. So I do 10, 27, 21. And the sample rate, you want to do 4,800 Hertz. You want to do stereo for the channels, and you want to do the 32 float. Okay, so when you open Adobe Audition, it's going to look like this. You have a completely blank slate. Over here, you kind of have your normal PC functions, file, save as, all that sort of stuff. But first, people ask, well, what's this middle section for? So this is where you're going to drag and drop your file. So say I am working on my last air check, and let me just bring this over. So I'm going to drop and drag my air check, and it's loading. And this was just an old show I did. And pretty much we're going to take segments from this show and put it into kind of some clips, edit it down a little. Usually loads within a minute, so it's not too bad. Okay, cool. So the first thing you're going to notice here, you kind of want to read the screen, is you see these peaks and valleys. Usually these peaks is talking. So let me just go to a talk break. This is me and Zoe. That is not talking.
Welcome back to ICLU Radio. You're listening to Kyle and Zoe.
Okay, so this is a talk break. So say I want this specific talk break. I am going to highlight it just like this. I am going to right click it. I'm going to click copy to new. So now what we have here is we have a little segment that there's a few things we could do. One is we could put it in our radio reel. Two is we could throw it up online like Mixcloud or something. Or three, Instagram is what me and Zoe do a lot of times. So we're going to make sure we have the beginning.
Welcome back to ICLU Radio.
Okay, and then we're just going to kind of see where we end.
We're going to leave you with a little bit of Bruce Vaughn. You're listening to Kyle and Zoe on Campus Station.
Okay, so as you can see, where you kind of have those peaks is generally it's when you're talking, unless you have really distorted audio. One of the huge things you want to make sure, whether you're recording at home or you're recording in the studio, is you don't want distortion in your audio. Once you have distortion, it's really hard to change that distortion. And so you can always bring sound volume up, but compressing it to bring the decibel level down, it's very hard to get rid of that distortion once it's there. Even when you're, you can, here, I'll show you what you can do. So look, you can play with the decibels, but if I had distortion, generally they're still going to kind of stick in there. The audio is not going to be good. Okay, so now I have a clip from my show. So now the question is, what am I going to do with it, right? So there's one of two things. One is I could go right up here. Say I'm going to throw it up on Mixcloud, which for those of you that don't know, Mixcloud is SoundCloud, but you can use licensed music. And that's huge because a lot of other websites you can't. So pretty much you can throw up your whole radio show. SoundCloud, if you're just doing your talk breaks, it's fine. But if you want to put any music on there, it'll flag it. So say I want to put this talk break on for, I don't know, let's just say just a Mixcloud audio file. So I'm just going to go to File, Save As. You want to save it as an MP3. And then you name your file and you're good. But say you're not happy with the audio, or say you want to add some sort of special effect to the whole track. So you can do Control A, or if you're using a Mac, I think it's Apple A. But you can go over here to the presets, and these are all sorts of different effects racks that you can play with. So say I want to sound like, Zoe in her talk break. Say I want to say like she sounds like she's on the phone. So there's actually a telephone, and I'm going to play it back, and she's going to sound like she's on the phone.
Welcome back to I Feel You Radio. You're listening to Kyle and Zoe.
So there's all these effect racks, and cool thing is you can kind of play around with it. And obviously we don't want to do that. So we click undo, apply rack, and then
In the morning.
it's normal. But this is a great tool if you don't want to manually kind of alter the peaks and valleys. They have AM radio, they have kind of cleanup and level voice. There's a setting for radio announcer, there's a setting for podcast voice. So there's all sorts of things. So you really want to check this out, especially if you're doing voiceovers. It could come in super handy. I'll show you that. For instance, say this is not a voiceover, but say this was a voiceover and I want that kind of far away effect. Let's see if this will sound like it.
Welcome back to I Feel You Radio. This is Kyle and Zoe.
So obviously we don't want to do that to our radio show. But cool. The overall, let's get rid of that. Say I'm at the point to where I like the sound and I like the levels and I like the clip. But I want to put this in a bigger clip show. I am going to highlight the whole thing, and which there's a few ways of doing it. One is you can literally drag your mouse like this and then right click. And we're going to copy this to a new file because we're going to put this into, we're going to put this into a multi-track, right? Because we're going to make a little clip show. So I'm just going to write, okay, Kyle and Zoe reel, right? So we're putting together a little radio reel. Again, make sure your sample rates the 44-100, 32 float and stereo. And then people are probably like, what the heck is this? So this is your multi-track mix down where you can kind of layer tracks on top of each other. In fact, I'll show you a promo that I made with the help of Scott Alexander for a radio show. But right now, I'm just going to show you how to kind of layer talk breaks together. Okay, so we're in here.
Welcome back to I Feel You Radio. You're listening to Kyle and Zoe.
We are here with our talk break. And so we want to take talk break from the same show and put it after this talk break. Hold on, what did I do? Okay, there we go. So this talk break's about, let's see. Oh, this is actually important. Okay, on the top, you can either look at your file wider, or you could narrow the scope down to the seconds, which is really cool. So this is the whole thing. So this talk break, wow, it's about 6 minutes.
About 10 minutes with some Disney stuff.
Okay, so our talk break here was 6 minutes. Now I want to find my next talk break. So I'm gonna go down here. Again, you look for the peaks and valleys. Looks like there's a talk break here.
Zoe, it's time for
Disney Magic.
that's right.
Okay, so I'm gonna take this talk break now because we're putting our little radio reel together for the show. And then the radio reel, again, it's not necessarily all your work put into one. It could be it could just be one show. Like we've talked about before, what a lot of stations now are doing is they have quote unquote podcasts. They're not podcasts per se, they're just the radio show on demand. So you can get all the talk breaks without the commercials, and you can hear them anytime. So that's kind of what we're doing here. So what I want to do is I want to copy this. I want to copy just this little section. I want to open up our multi-track mix down, and then I want to right click. It's not letting me do it. Hold on. Okay, because I have to do copy to new. Yes. Yes, and this is
A little throwback to NSYNC. Bye, bye, bye. You're listening to Kyle and Zoe in the morning. Zoe, it's time for
okay. This is our talk break.
People haven't gone in.
Bieber. I don't care. You're listening.
Okay, our Disney talk breaks tend to be kind of long because Zoe and I are huge Disney fanatics. But now that we have the talk break separate, we're going to insert this into the multi-track mix down. So right now it just says Untitled 3. You can edit the name if you want to save it. I'm not saving this right now, so I'm not worried about it. So now we're here. You're going to right click. You can either right click or you can click, there's an insert button. Yeah, insert files. So you can either right click or do insert files. I like to right click, but it's whatever you like. So we're going to go to insert, and then we're going to go to that Untitled 3. Okay, so this is, I'm just going to play what we just worked on, and now this one.
Wait for that one.
Yeah. Stay tuned.
We're going to leave you with a little bit of Bruce Vine. You're listening to Kyle and Zoe in the morning on ICLU Radio, your campus station. Hello.
Okay, and that is where our two talk breaks are going to meet. And if we zoom out, we went from about 6 minutes to now about 16 minutes of our talk breaks. Now, people ask, how do you mesh the talk breaks together? There's a few ways to do it. I'm just going to kind of show you the basic way to do it. And that is, you want to zoom in, get close, and you kind of want to just drag this over so it overlaps like this. That's the easiest way to do it. So let's see how it sounds.
With a little bit of Bruce Vine, you're listening to Kyle and Zoe in the morning on ICLU Radio, your campus station. A little throwback to NSYNC.
And so that was much smoother. So, you know, I think to start out, that's the best way to do it. And again, over here, we have clip effects and track effects. Clip effects is for this specific clip. So if I click the Untitled 3, that is the clip. If I click track, it's going to be track 1, right? So it's going to be this whole track. Normally you don't want to apply the same track, the same effect to the whole track. Totally depends on what you're doing. For this, we do not want to do that. Okay, so now we have this. People ask me, you know, what if there's a talk break in the middle where I messed up, but I put it in the multi-track and I want it out. So what you can do is over here, you actually have a razor tool. Fun fact, Adobe Audition, a lot of their programs, you'll see the same tools. You will see the same razor tool in the Adobe Premiere, and you will see it in, I believe, Illustrator as well. So it is literally, think of like a box cutter. So I'm gonna take my little box cutter right here, say I don't want this break anymore. and then to right here. And I can literally take that break out. And if I click delete, it's going to delete it. So that's a super important tool. Obviously, a while ago when they were using film or, reel-to-reel tape, you physically had to, cut it out if you were going to and then splice it back together. Luckily, we don't have to do that. So look, this is gone and boom. And oh yes, that's what I wanted to mention. So right next to the razor blade tool is kind of your pointer. Your pointer is how you can kind of drag and drop everything. But this is kind of just a basic way to do your put it like a radio reel together or a podcast, or trying to think another name for it. They're really kind of all blending into one the same way. The next video, I'm going to show you how to do the make a promotion, and we're literally going to use a bunch of different elements in one track. But that is all for this video.